At 5 a.m., Bella drove Todd back home. After the disturbing events, unspoken questions swirled within her, but she didn't dare ask Todd. Pulling up to the gate of Todd's mansion, the rain had lightened. Dawn's crimson glow bled into the overcast sky, the blood-red hue of a murderer's morning after. The killer waved goodbye to his unwitting accomplice. Arriving home herself, Bella found her father already up and exercising in the driveway, as if waiting for her return. He asked, "Where were you all night that you're just getting home now?" Stammering awkwardly, Bella finally recounted Todd's late-night call and going over to his place, omitting their river dumping. Though she hadn't described it, Mr. Brown knew exactly what had transpired, having secretly witnessed everything himself. He feigned ignorance, trying unsuccessfully to ascertain what had been in those bags. Exhausted from the sleepless night, Bella went upstairs to bed, leaving her troubled father standing alone with swirling doubts about Todd that he couldn't resolve. Just then the phone rang. "Todd, this is your uncle." "Yes, uncle. I'm sick today. Was out late in the rain last night and have a bad cold. I'm calling to request a few days off to rest and recover." After the previous night's shifty behavior, Mr. Brown harbored deep suspicions about Todd. The young man was now a huge question mark. Mr. Brown had considered marrying his precious daughter to Todd and bequeathing him the company, but now he would get to the bottom of things before deciding anything. "Oh, you're ill? Anything serious? Get some rest. I'll have others cover your work. Focus on eating well and recovering quickly." Todd uttered some obliging sentiments before hanging up. With a heavy sigh, Mr. Brown's face creased in troubled thought. After calling in sick, Todd retrieved a small glass vial from the fridge, carefully wrapped in black plastic. Carrying it, he drove off. In her room, Bella tossed and turned, fitfully napping after the long, sleepless night. In her semi-conscious state, she found herself in a dark room during a violent thunderstorm. Two figures writhed upon a bed in the gloom. The man strangled his sleeping partner, who convulsed and thrashed helplessly. Everything went still. Paralyzed and mute, Bella watched in horror as he murdered the poor girl. Some invisible force compelled her to witness the chilling scene. Suddenly lightning flashed, revealing the girl's nude, rigid corpse on the bed, eyes bulging with blood-red veins. The killer slowly turned to face Bella, smiling malevolently, his eerie laughter echoing through the stormy darkness. It chilled Bella to her core. Fighting futilely to escape the nightmare, she felt only disgust for the man she had loved so blindly. Gradually, everything faded. Another lightning bolt jolted Bella awake. Now she stood in a blood-splattered bathroom, observing with revulsion as Todd methodically dismembered the corpse with a butcher knife. The blade sawing through bone made a horrifying grating sound. First he hacked off the feet, then the knees and thighs. Next went the hands, elbows, and arms. Finally, he grasped a hank of the bloody hair and violently severed the head with a harsh jerk of the knife. Tossing it aside, he sliced open the belly and reached inside to extract a revolting, partially formed fetus. In the dim, gory scene, Bella watched Todd place the unborn infant into a glass jar. Then he carefully cut out the still warm heart and put it in the vial she had seen him carry from the fridge. He bagged the head and limbs in one sack, the torso in another. After hosing away obvious signs of his butchery, he made a phone call. Next, Bella saw herself helping the murderer lug the bags to the car, then to the bridge where they hurled them into the river, every detail slowly unfolding like a macabre film in which she co-starred. Despite desperate attempts to awaken, some sinister force compelled her to witness it all. A disembodied voice intoned, "Blood debts must be repaid in blood. You abetted evil, and you will pay." Maniacal laughter pealed as Bella finally jolted awake, heart pounding in sheer terror. "Dad!" she cried out, met only by silence. He had left for work. Checking her phone, she read his text saying he had let her sleep in and would have others cover for him at the office. The chilling dream left Bella rattled, and she felt icy tendrils of dread. as if someone lurked nearby watching her. Lonely and vulnerable in her own home, she anxiously awaited her father's return. From a distance, Mr. Brown stealthily watched Todd's mansion gate. When Todd drove out, Mr. Brown quietly tailed him through winding back streets to a dilapidated old house at 660 Smith St. Ivy, nearly consumed the aged brick walls. Keeping his distance to avoid detection, Mr. Brown observed as Todd stepped out of the car, clutching a mysterious black plastic-wrapped glass vial. Todd rang the bell and was welcomed by a wizened old man, Mr. Michael, a renowned occult sorcerer. Ushering Todd inside, Michael wheezed, "Do you have everything I required? I'll fulfill our agreed plan to bring you wealth and power, but you must compensate me afterwards." Todd smiled smoothly. "Don't worry, I'll reward you handsomely once this succeeds." Michael led Todd into his altar room, lit eerily by candles amidst swirling incense. Grotesque idols crowded the shrine. Taking the vial containing the infant's heart and fetus, Michael mumbled unintelligible chants while ritually offering it to his pagan gods. Then, dagger in hand, he addressed Todd. "Now to seal your pact, offer your blood. In 49 days, the summoned spirit will be bound to serve your bidding. Then you'll easily achieve your aims." Obediently, Todd pricked his finger over the vial. Oddly, the 3 fresh drops instantly shriveled and vanished into the grisly relics. Michael extracted a sheet of gold silk, wrote cryptic symbols with ink, and fashioned an amulet. Continuing his mysterious chant, he affixed it over the vial, covering all in red cloth. Back in the living room, he cautioned Todd, "Keep this between us. Return in 49 days when the ritual is complete." "I'll contact you if needed. The conjured infant spirit will assist your plans." Departing, Todd felt not the slightest remorse or guilt over his monstrous acts. Instead, triumph swelled within. Soon the occult forces would eliminate all obstacles to claiming Bella's fortune. Coldly strategizing, he reasoned the ends justified the means. One must daringly seize destiny. With sorcery's aid, success was assured. Smirking confidently, he drove home. At Bella's house, still troubled by her father's text and bizarre visions, she rested fitfully. Feverish, she dreamed of a grieving woman's mournful wailing echoing through the empty house into the still night. Then came a newborn's plaintive cries, pitifully despairing. The woman crooned a haunting lullaby. "Baby mine, sleep peacefully while mother shoulders sorrows see. Men's hearts hold depths obscuring humanity. Karma's laws judge cruel deeds, take heed." The melancholy midnight lament seemed a woeful warning about karmic retribution. Bella jerked awake. Pitch blackness engulfed her room. Fumbling for the nightlight, it wouldn't turn on. Near the window she glimpsed an indistinct figure. A woman cradling an infant. Though distant, its cries pierced the silence. Bella peered closer. It was a pale woman in white with a wailing baby. Abruptly, the singing and cries ceased, replaced by awful stillness. Then Bella shuddered in terror as the white apparition slowly rotated its head to face her. The ghostly visage was utterly bloodless, with cavernous eyes oozing blood. Its mangled mouth was ripped ear to ear in a ghoulish grin. Lank hair partially obscured the macabre face. Most horrifying, its body remained gazing out the window. Only the head had turned. It still clutched the unseen baby. Bella screamed hysterically, but the door was sealed shut. With no one to hear her panicked cries, the room seemed to darken malevolently at the thing's approach. Suddenly, its whole body detached, and the baby was flung directly before Bella's face. Gazing intently, it clutched a lump of gory flesh, suckling it like a nursing infant. Then its eyes flashed furiously at Bella, and it cackled wickedly, its laughter drowning the room in darkness and evil. Next, the 2 sacks floated before her. Though mute, Bella tried futilely to scream. The bags split open, spilling their gruesome contents onto the floor. The severed head with bulging eyes, lifeless limbs, and the bisected torso, intestines spilling out. Before Bella's horrified eyes, the disjointed parts slithered together, reassembling into a human shape, though its chest lacked a heart. The grotesque being lurched towards Bella, rasping, "Return my life. You and your cursed lover dumped me into the river to claim your inheritance. I perished without a proper burial, my bones so cold." It reached to strangle her as the wailing infant watched malevolently. Emily's vengeful spirit seemed to shriek from some distant void. Suddenly Bella lurched forward, desperately grabbing anything to hurl at the ghoulish apparition. But her efforts were futile against the relentless specter's icy grasp. As death closed in, Emily's hands constricted in bitter vengeance. Then everything faded into eerie laughter echoing through darkness as Bella collapsed. Returning home that night, Mr. Brown rang the doorbell, but received no response. Getting out to unlock the gate and pull in, he called out uneasily into the pitch-black house. "Bella, why are all the lights off?" Hearing nothing, a chill breeze blew, raising the hairs on his neck. Rushing upstairs to Bella's room, he burst in and flicked on the lights, revealing a scene of chaotic destruction, belongings strewn everywhere. Spotting Bella lying motionless amidst the debris, he cried, "Bella, what happened?" Shaking her limp body elicited no response. Frantically, he felt her nose. She was still breathing. Snatching up his phone, he urgently called an ambulance to the hospital. The next morning, when Bella awoke, she thrashed about violently, clawing at her hair and clothes in delirium, screaming over and over, "My baby! Where's my baby? Give her back!" Initially overjoyed to see Bella conscious, Mr. Brown's heart shattered witnessing her deranged state. He hastily summoned the doctor. Upon arriving, the doctor and nurses were shocked to find Bella calmly gazing out the window, tenderly cradling a pillow like an infant, crooning a lullaby. When they attempted to take away the pillow and settle her into bed, Bella turned savage, clawing at them as if defending her baby from harm. Left with no choice, they were forced to restrain and sedate the hysterical Bella as Mr. Brown looked on in anguish. After examining Bella, the doctor took Mr. Brown aside, consoling. "She suffered severe psychological trauma, damaging her mind. We've done what we can, but I recommend transferring her to a psychiatric hospital for proper treatment and recovery." Tears welled up in Mr. Brown's eyes contemplating his only daughter's tragic fate. He stared blankly out the window into the gloomy gray sky. A week later, though Bella's physical health had improved, her memory and mind remained unstable, prone to madness. Often found murmuring to the pillow she cradled, her vacant eyes gazed into endless oblivion. When Todd visited Bella, upon seeing him, she grew wildly agitated. Cooing to her pillow, she said, "Darling, your father's here to see you." Then glaring malevolently at Todd, hair obscuring her face, she let out a deranged cackle and lunged for his throat, strangling him while shrieking, "Give me back my baby's life, you vile murderer! You'll pay!" Todd struggled desperately until Mr. Brown and nurses intervened, forcefully evicting him from the room. Bella's anguished cries echoed behind as he rushed off in terror. Reaching home, Todd collapsed on the couch, stricken with fear. How did the insane Bella know he was a killer? Was Emily's vengeful spirit haunting her? Staring wildly at the ceiling, the murder replayed vividly in Todd's mind. He agonized. Why hadn't the body bag surfaced after a week in the river? Gripped by a splitting headache, he staggered to the liquor cabinet and downed glass after glass, wanting desperately to forget the grim visions haunting him. Then he recalled the sorcerer. Fumbling for his phone, he dialed Mr. Michael to no avail. Furious, Todd hurled his phone and kept drinking until he passed out. In a drunken nightmare, he saw a woman in a white dress beside the bridge, beckoning him over, a child with her. Suddenly, a Mercedes crashed into them, plunging into the blood-red river now choked with grasping arms of vengeful spirits. The bridge now held two pale specters smiling malevolently as demonic laughter engulfed the inky night. The car sank out of sight. Here is my attempt at translating the ninth part. Todd jerked awake from his nightmare. Cold sweat drenched his t-shirt. The white-clad ghost was Lan, or rather, her vengeful spirit. But who was the child? Surely not the aborted fetus. Hadn't the sorcerer's ritual contained their spirits? How were they now haunting him? His mind spun with unanswered questions. Then, faintly, he heard a lullaby followed by pitiful wailing echoing through the house. Still drunk, Todd staggered up unsteadily, the neon room lights pulsing and swirling before his eyes. Ascending the stairs, the singing and crying from the second floor abruptly ceased, replaced by fearful silence. The door creaked open. A nude woman beckoned invitingly from his bed. As Todd lurched towards her, his eyes widened in horror. It was Emily's corpse, bulging eyes fixed on him in utmost hatred. Then a head emerged from under the bed. The infant. Its face was grotesquely distorted. Hollow eyes and yawning maw lined with jagged teeth poised to viciously rend its prey. Rudimentary horns sprouted from its head. Emily's body disintegrated before Todd's eyes, the severed head rolling to his feet. The once beautiful visage was now bloodless and desiccated. Todd screamed, but the sound was devoured by the murky, otherworldly void. On the bed lay a pile of gore as blood dripped onto the floor, the stench of death thick in the air. The demon child held Emily's heart in its mouth, crawling towards Todd and cackling malevolently. Emily's voice echoed, "Are you afraid, Todd? Return my life. Repay your blood debt. Your crimes warrant no mercy." Her crazed laughter chilled Todd to the bone. He burst from the room in sheer panic, fleeing into the night. Disoriented, Todd couldn't control where his car sped, but as if guided by sinister forces, it halted before the dilapidated house of the sorcerer, Mr. Michael. Leaving it running, Todd rushed up and rang the bell. Getting no response, he cautiously entered the open gate and darkened house. A heavy aura of foreboding gripped him. Stumbling over something, Todd searched for a light. Illumination revealed a ransacked living room stained with blood. Handprints on the walls and floor, one large, one small. Following the gruesome trail, Todd discovered the sorcerer's mutilated corpse. Eyes bulging, hands clasped around his own throat, tongue protruding in a pool of blood. Todd recoiled in horror from the desecrated altar room. The ritual relics had been destroyed, their binding magic undone. Malevolent spirits had rendered their vengeance. Todd tried bolting, but the door jammed shut. His panicked screams went unheard. The time had come to face justice for his sins. A chilling voice echoed from the depths. "Todd, darling, I've missed you. Why do you flee? Stay, you and our child." Maniacal laughter drowned out Todd's desperate pleas for mercy. From the shadows, the twin fiends crawled forth. Emily's vengeful spirit and the sorcerer's malformed homunculus. Because of Toad's cruelty, she had become a wrathful demon, intent on just retribution. Mercy? You showed none when brutally slaying me and your unborn progeny? Not even beasts act so savagely. As Emily's wild hair whipped around her face, she lunged for Todd's throat. Suddenly, radiant light burst forth from Todd's necklace, a protective talisman from his deceased mother. He burst from the room with darkness clawing at his heels. Fleeing into the night, Emily's taunts echoed behind. "Run all you like, but you can't escape righteous vengeance. Your mother's power won't save you again." Demonic laughter pursued Todd as he sped into the eternal darkness. Todd sped into the stormy darkness, his mind whirling, flooring the accelerator. Torrential rain poured as on that fateful night. Speeding aimlessly, he glanced right, the familiar mile marker 13 on its vivid blue background at the bridge where he had dumped the body bags. Two pale specters beckoned him from within the downpour. Faintly he heard Emily's voice. "Return my life." Inexplicably, Todd raced straight towards them, screaming, "Die, let me be!" Suddenly losing control, the car crashed through the railing, plunging into the river's depths. Within minutes it sank out of sight, the merciless waters claiming the vicious murderer. On the bridge, the misty apparitions faded away. The next morning, workers discovered the bridge's railing smashed, a Mercedes sunk below, The police were summoned and the car hauled up. Todd's contorted corpse was extracted with great difficulty, frozen in a final mask of terror. Also recovered were the 2 surfacing body bags containing the partial remains of the waitress, Lan. Limbs in one, bisected torso in the other, heart ripped out. Investigations concluded Todd, 26, had died driving drunk, crashing off the bridge. The dismembered body was identified as Lan, the cafe server who had gone missing over a week prior. At the psychiatric hospital, Mr. Brown sat watching the news with Bella, committed for treatment of her unstable mental state. The report about Todd's demise shocked Mr. Brown. Additionally, the recovered bags from the river allowed him to piece together the full story. "Karma, reaping what you sow," he murmured. Bella cackled crazily at the TV, repeating, "He deserved it." Mr. Brown went to the police and recounted all he had witnessed. With the main culprit dead and his daughter insane, no further action could be taken. He claimed Todd's body and Emily's remains, giving them proper burials before seeking out a monk's aid. 49 days after Emily's murder, the monk conducted elaborate rituals on the bridge to redeem her tormented soul. The vengeful spirits were put to rest, taken to the temple for spiritual training. Mr. Brown finally found some peace. He sold his assets and donated half towards the temple for Emily's sake. The remainder supported his and Bella's life at the monastery, where he had entrusted Emily's spirit. All this he did to in some way atone for his daughter's transgressions. Lost in madness, Bella spent her days cradling a pillow, singing her haunted lullaby. "Baby mine, sleep peacefully, while mother shoulders sorrows see. Men's hearts hold depths obscuring humanity. Karma's laws judge cruel deeds. Take heed."